20. This is the meeting of the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians. I'm Lane Yamaguchi, the Executive Officer of the Board. Welcome to everybody. Our first order of business today is going to be the election of our President and Vice President. So without objection, I would like to call the roll and establish quorum, and then I will pass along the facilitation to Board Counsel Ken Swenson to conduct the elections. So with that, let me call the roll. Paula Amazola de Herrera.
Present.
Alita Carpenter. Ms. Carpenter.
This is the moderator. Board Member Carpenter, it looks like you're currently muted.
Mr. Deerkin.
Yes, present.
Kenneth Maxey. I'll come back again. Carol Mountain.
Present.
Donna Norton. Miss Norton.
Present.
Great. Ms. Rubalcava.
Present.
Great. Cheryl Turner.
Present.
Great. I'll go back. Alita Carpenter.
She's having difficulty. She's calling in.
Okay. Ms. Carpenter is going to call in on the phone line. Kenneth Maxey. Okay, we do have quorum. As I said, the next order of business then would be to conduct elections. Mr. Swenson, could you please introduce the vote?
Thank you, Executive Officer Yamaguchi. This is Board Counsel Kenneth Swenson. Before I begin, I'd like to make sure everyone can hear me.
This is the moderator. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I will now be conducting a special election of board officers. This special election of board officers is necessary because the officers elected at the regular election earlier this year are no longer members of the board. The officers to be elected today are the president and the vice president of the board. With the consent of the board, the election will proceed as follows. The election of the office of president shall precede the election of the vice president. Nominations will be taken from the floor by the members of the board. Nominations need not be seconded, but a member may second a nomination to indicate endorsement. A nomination will be deemed an assumed motion that the nominee to be elected to the office. A separate motion and second shall not be required prior to the balloting for the office. After being nominated, nominees shall indicate if they accept the nomination. Once nominations are closed for an office, balloting will occur for that office by a roll call vote, which I will conduct. The roll call vote shall proceed in alphabetical order by last name of those members not currently holding office, to be followed by the current vice president and president respectively, which that will not apply at the election of the president. Each member should cast their vote by identifying the name that they vote for, even if there's only one candidate for that office. And then the nominees with the most ballots cast in their name will be elected to that office. So with those procedures in mind, now is the time and the place for the election of officers through this special election. Nominations are now in order for the office of President of the Board. Are there any nominations?
This is Carol Mountain, and I nominate Mr. John Durking.
This is John Deerking. I would nominate Dr. Carol Mountain.
Mr. Deerking, do you accept the nomination?
I would respectfully decline.
Yes.
Dr. Mountain, do you accept?
I will accept the nomination.
I got it. Yes. Okay. I'm okay now.
Are there any other nominations for the office of President of the Board? Any other nominations for the office of President of the Board? Hearing none. I will conduct a roll call vote. Even though there is just a single candidate, I would ask that you cast your vote by stating the name of the candidate you're voting for and the sole candidate, Dr. Mountain. I will now conduct the roll call vote. Ms. Zola de Herrera?
Yes, I vote yes for Carol Mountain.
Thank you. Ms. Carpenter?
I apologize for the technical difficulties. I vote for Carol Mountain.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Deerking?
Dr. Carol Mountain?
Thank you, Mr. Deerking. Mr. Maxey, are you on the line?
Yes, and I'm in support of Dr. Mountain.
Thank you, Mr. Maxey. Ms. Norton, how do you cast your vote?
Yes, for Carol Mountain.
Ms. Rubalcaba, how do you cast your vote?
Yes, for Carol Mountain.
Ms. Turner, how do you cast your vote?
Yes.
And Dr. Mountain, how do you cast your vote?
Can I abstain? Mr. Swenson?
Dr. Mountain abstains, so there are 7 votes cast for Dr. Mountain, 1 abstention. Dr. Mountain is elected President of the Board. Thank you. Congratulations. I'll now proceed to take nominations for the office of Vice President of the Board. Is there a nomination for the office of Vice President of the Board?
This is Carol Mountain. I'd like to nominate Mr. John Durking.
Mr. Deerking, do you accept that nomination?
I would accept.
Are there any further nominations for the office of Vice President of the Board? Any further nominations for the office of Vice President of the Board? Hearing none, I will proceed with the roll call vote. Please indicate your vote by identifying the candidate by name. Excuse me. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, how do you cast your vote?
I vote yes for John Dearkin.
Ms. Carpenter, how do you cast your vote?
My vote is for John Dearking.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Maxey, how do you cast your vote?
I vote yes for John Durkee.
Thank you, Mr. Maxey. Dr. Mountain, how do you cast your vote?
I vote yes for Mr. Dearking.
Thank you, Dr. Mountain. Ms. Norton, how do you cast your vote?
Yes, for Mr. Durkin.
Thank you, Ms. Norton. Ms. Rubalcaba, how do you cast your vote?
Yes for Mr. Dearkin.
Thank you, Ms. Rubalcaba. Ms. Turner, how do you cast your vote?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Mr. Dearking, how do you cast your vote?
I will abstain.
The votes are 7 in favor of Mr. Dearking, 1 abstention. Mr. Dearking is elected Vice President of the Board. I will now turn the matter back to Executive Officer Yamaguchi. Thank you.
This is Elaine Yamaguchi. Thank you so much for your help, Mr. Swenson. And congratulations to our president and vice president. We're ready to work. With that, we will figuratively gavel off to Dr. Mountain, and we will proceed with the beginning of our petitioner hearings. Thank you all so very, very much.
This is Donna Norton. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I can hear this meeting, but I can no longer see. On the WebEx, it just simply says event in progress, but I can't see the event, and I logged out and logged back in, and it's the same thing. So if you could tell me what's on the screen right now, I mean, I clearly I don't understand what's going on here.
This is the moderator. On the screen right now, we just have a slide for to which petitioner we're going to go to. However, if you can't see anything, that might pose a potential problem as the petitioners will be turning on their cameras.
I can't see a thing. I'm going to log off again and log back in. I guess I'll log all the way out this time, including audio, because I can't see anything on my screen.
Okay.
So,
And when you log back in, this is the moderator again. Do you mind making sure that you click that Join Now button? That way I can make sure that I can promote you back up to a panelist.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the moderator again to members of the public. Please wait one moment while we get our board member back online. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. This is Paula Amazola. I also wanted to remind the board we have not done the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is Elaine Yamaguchi, if I may. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, I realize that, and we've had advice and input from a variety of sources who opined that to hold the Pledge of Allegiance remotely was not perhaps the most respectful. If you wish a motion elsewise, we could certainly entertain that, but generally speaking, we were advised that it's not as appropriate to do so remotely.
Great. I appreciate you allowing us to understand why the change was made. I just wanted to remind it, and if this is the advice you have received, I am fine with moving forward. I just think it's important to be transparent and let the board members know why the agenda is the way it is. Thank you.
Excuse me, this is Alita Carpenter. This is for the moderator. I experienced the same problem that Donna Norton did, which is why I wound up signed in twice.
This is the moderator. Are you still able to see the presentation right now, or are you?
I am now.
Okay.
I am now, thanks to Vicky Saavedra. She fixed it.
Wonderful.
Yes, she is.
All right. Looks like we are still waiting on Board Member Norton, so please sit tight until she gets logged back in. Quick mic check.
I believe I'm back now. Thank you.
Hello, we can hear you. Thank you. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. This is the moderator, executive officer, or board president. Would you like us to move back to the slides with the petitioner hearings?
Ms. Yamaguchi, is that what we'd like to do?
Thank you very much. This is Elaine Yamaguchi. Yes, please. If the judge could start the proceedings, that would be terrific.
All right, so this is Judge Wong. Dr. Mountain, is it the board's preference to call the matters in order listed on the agenda?
Unless there is an objection, yes, please, can we call them in the order they are listed?
That's what I will do. Okay, and it's my understanding that the petitioner hearings are being electronically recorded as opposed to a court reporter. Is that correct?
This is Jay Prouty. That is correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll go ahead and call the first matter, which is Ann Kindred Joe.
This is the moderator. I've promoted Ann Kindred Joe and her legal counsel, Scott Harris, up to panelists. You should be able to unmute your microphones and turn on your cameras at this point.
All right, I see Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris, do you see your client yet?
I do not, Your Honor. She happens to be in my office's conference room, and I can step into it to make sure she's not having any technical difficulties if you don't mind.
That would be great.
All right, I'll be right back. Thank you very much for your patience, Your Honor, and the board.
This is the moderator. While we're waiting for our petitioner, I'd just like to give a quick, gentle reminder to any of the panelists, if you could please mute your microphone when you aren't speaking, just to prevent any background noise from happening. Thank you.
Moderator, this is Attorney Scott Harris. Ms. Kindred Joe, her screen does not appear to have changed like mine. It's still on the non-panelist screen.
This is the moderator. I have her signed in twice, but only her audio connection was only connected once, and that was the one I promoted. Let me go ahead and promote the second one up. This is the moderator again. Are you able to unmute your microphone and turn on your camera, Anne?
Okay, I see her now. And so I think we have everybody. Great. So let's go ahead and go on the record.
Apologies, this is the moderator real quick. May I quickly interject?
Sure.
I just want to make sure that she's able to unmute her microphone. Anne, can you give us a quick mic check? If you're having trouble unmuting your microphone, oh, it looks like you have an audio connection now on the other. Sign in. So your microphone mute and unmute button will be at the bottom of your WebEx screen next to that camera button. When it's red, that means you're muted, and when it's grayed out, it means you're unmuted.
Sure, but I'm hearing myself.
It looks like I had you in twice. I'll go ahead and demote the second one back down to an attendee because it looks like this one has your camera now. Are you still hearing yourself twice?
I'm hearing everything twice. You and myself.
Are we ready to proceed?
I believe so now that we have her audio connected.
Right. So let's go ahead and go on the record. We're here on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for reinstatement by Ann, A-N-N, Leah, L-E-A-H, Kindred-Joe, spelled Kindrec-Joe-E. It's OAH number 2020-070-571. My name's Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. And to establish a quorum of the board for the record, I ask that each member respond audibly after his or her name is called. Ms. Amazola D. Herrera.
Present.
Ms. Carpenter.
Present.
Mr. Deerking.
Present.
Mr. Maxey.
Present.
Dr. Mountain.
Present.
Ms. Norton.
Present.
Ms. Rubalcava.
Present.
And Ms. Turner.
Present.
I'll let the record reflect that there is a quorum. And may I now next take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General.
Good morning, Caitlin Doherty, appearing on behalf of the Deputy. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Profession Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board have adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Good morning. And may I take the appearance of the petitioner and her counsel, please.
Yes, good morning, Judge Wong and members of the board. Scott Harris on behalf of the petitioner Ann Kindred-Joe, who is also present on your screen. And Ms. Joe, you may introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Ann Leah Kindred-Joe.
Good morning. Okay, so we're here for a petition for reinstatement. And this procedurally, the Deputy Attorney General will first present the petition and supporting documents, and then provide a short overview of the history of the surrender of Ms. Kindred Joe's license. After that, then I'll turn it over to Mr. Harris to ask questions of his client, and then Ms. Doherty will have a chance to ask questions, and then the board members will also have a chance to ask questions. Just as a reminder that what the board is most interested in this matter is the rehabilitation Ms. Kindred Joe may have engaged in since surrendering her license. And then after the hearing, after the hearing, the board will go into closed session to deliberate. So a decision will not be issued today, but will be issued later on in the future. So with that, Ms. Doherty, if you'd like to begin your presentation.
Thank you. I'd first like to mark for identification and offer into evidence what's been pre-marked as a petitioner's original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with the copy of the same set of this exhibit. This exhibit generally consists of a petition for reinstatement and supporting documents. I'd like to also point out that there was an addendum added to that petition, those supporting documents that was provided to all the board members as well. Those supporting documents generally consist of proof of counseling, which includes a letter from petitioner's licensed clinical psychologist, proof of employment for petitioner, proof of petitioner's attendance in Alcoholics Anonymous, and 2 letters from petitioner's sponsor. In addition, there is also 7 letters of reference, and there's also letters proof of expungement in petitioner's criminal cases filed by opposing counsel in this matter. Additionally, petitioner has provided numerous amounts of continuing education. I'd like to point out that 58 of those hours that were provided were completed in 2020. The prior hours provided were all completed in 2018 or prior. Following that is a license certification of petitioner. And following that would be a notice of hearing and the related correspondence to the hearing today. And what is marked in section D is the board decision, final decision and order in case number VN-2008-254, surrendering petitioner's license with the attached petition to revoke probation in case number VN-2009-3874. At this time, I'd ask that the petition with all the supporting documents be admitted into evidence.
All right, so the original petition packet will be marked collectively as Exhibit 1. Mr. Harris, any objection to 1 being admitted for all purposes?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Sure. 1 is so admitted. Ms. Doherty, does the letter from the counselor Dinora, D-I-N-O-R-A, Guzman, J-U-Z-M-A-N, need to be sealed under HIPAA?
We would ask that it be sealed. We were leaving that to opposing counsel as to what his client would be, the client's preference was on that document.
And Mr. Harris, what's the preference?
Yes, Your Honor. It would be petitioner's position to ask for both the document from Dr. Guzman that you just referred to, as well as the first letter from Dr. Gary Fisher, marked as Exhibit A in the addendum, which begins at AA005, be sealed, both under HIPAA and to protect certain information about Ms. Kindred Joe.
And I'm sorry, counsel, what is the number of the second letter you mentioned?
Well, there is, under the supplemental exhibits referenced by Ms. Doherty, which are bait stamped AA, and then a series of numbers, it would be Exhibit A, which starts at AA005, a letter from Dr. Gary S. Fisher regarding a psychological evaluation conducted on or about July 29th, 2020.
Got it. Okay, and I thought scanning, I may have seen one more document. Let me see if I can find it. Does the letter from Mary O'Connor, which is AA048, need to be sealed?
Pardon me, Your Honor, while I move to that, I apologize. I had, Your Honor, interpreted this more as a, this is Miss Mary O'Connor is Miss Kindred Joe's sponsor, and I think this is more of a letter of reference than it is related to a true medical evaluation.
Okay, and looking at it in more detail, I agree. So we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and seal the other two letters mentioned, and I will prepare the written order after the hearing and then send it out to the parties. Okay. Ms. Doherty, your next exhibit?
Your Honor, they were admitted as a group, which included all the board's documentation, including the license certification and the jurisdictional documents for today.
You're right. I didn't catch it. So what I want to do is the petition packet, original petition packet will be one and remains admitted for all purposes. The petition packet addendum I'll mark as 2.
Okay.
Mr. Harris, any objection to 2 for all purposes?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, and 2 is so admitted. All right. Do you wish to provide your summary at this time, Ms. Doherty?
I do. Thank you. On or about May 10, 2001, the California Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians issued vocational license number VN 19523 to petitioner. On April 30th, 2010, the board filed accusation number VN-2009-3874 against petitioner. The accusation alleged that respondent's license or petitioner's license was subject to disciplinary action under Code Section 2878F, conviction of a crime substantially related to the qualifications, functions, or duties of a vocational nurse, unprofessional conduct, and violation of 2878.5, subdivision C, conviction of a crime involving the consumption of alcohol. In that, on or about September 10, 2008, petitioner was convicted on her plea of guilty for violating Vehicle Code Section 23152, subsection B, for driving while having a blood alcohol level of more than 0.08%, a misdemeanor. In Yolo Superior County, case number 08-4251. Respondent was also convicted on September 30th, 2005, on her plea of nolo contendere and violating Penal Code Section 59.4, subdivision A, unlawfully and maliciously Penal Code Section 653, subdivision A, unlawfully with the intent to annoy, telephone, make contact by means of any electronic communication device, and address obscene language to the victim. On December 14, 2010, this was heard in front of an administrative law judge. On June 14, 2011, the board adopted the amended proposed decision, and effective July 14, 2011, petitioner was placed on a 5-year probation with standard terms and conditions with cost ordered. On April 29, 2014, an accusation and petition to revoke probation was filed against petitioner. in this matter. The basis of the accusation was that petitioner failed to adhere to the standards of the profession when she failed to give proper care to a partially paralyzed patient. Further, petitioner engaged in dishonest acts when she stole that patient's hydrocodone pills and threatened to retaliate if that patient ever reported her. Further, petitioner tested positive for controlled substances on 4 instances. The basis of the petition to revoke probation was that petitioner failed to comply with the probation program, failed to submit written reports, failed to maintain a valid license, failed to abstain from controlled substances, failed to submit quarterly psychotherapy reports, and failed to submit biological fluid samples, and failed to comply with the board's cost recovery payment program. At that point in time, petitioner had an outstanding balance of $1,714 in cost recovery. On or around July 10, 2014, petitioner entered into a stipulated settlement to surrender her vocational license to the board. On October 31st, 2014, the board adopted the stipulated surrender of the license effective November 30th, 2014, surrendering petitioner's vocational nurse license and ordering costs of $4,795. Petitioner currently has outstanding costs for both prior investigations and enforcement of her cases in the amount of $6,015. On or around July 25th, 2019, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her vocational nurse license. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question petitioner. Thank you.
Oops, sorry, forgot to unmute. Mr. Harris, I'll turn it over now for your presentation. Do you wish to call Ms. Kindred Joe at this time?
Judge Wong, would you mind if I make a very short opening statement?
Yes, you may, and I'm sorry I forgot to ask you that. Please
That's okay, Judge Wong. Thank you very much. Again, good morning, members of the board, and again to you, Judge Wong, excuse me. We appreciate that in spite of the pending COVID crisis that we're able to appear before you today. A quick congratulations to Dr. Mountain and Mr. Deerking for your election as board president and vice president today as well. Ms. Kindred Joe comes before you very humbled by her past. She is the first to recognize the issues that led to her loss of her license several years ago. Today, you will meet a petitioner who has confronted her past, owned her alcohol and drug abuse, and who has invested in her future. You will meet someone who has the respect of colleagues and friends, who has tackled the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, someone who has invested in her own self-growth through therapy, and someone who has found joy in caring for herself with stable employment. We believe that you will find significant evidence of rehabilitation over the past many years, which in the end will evidence that petitioner is ready, able, and willing to return back to the healthcare field that she so passionately loves. As a point of clarification, I wanted to bring to the board's attention that the cost recovery amount outlined as ordered to be paid in the event that you order the relicensure of Ms. Kindred Joe on page 67 of the original packet, also known as D005, line 20, that the amount owed is $4,795 per the original surrender adopted by the board. We are here today because we know you have questions, and we hope to show that Ms. Kindred Joe is willing to do whatever it takes to provide the board comfort in her relicensure as a licensed vocational nurse. At the conclusion of this hearing, it is our hopes that you will find that she deserves an opportunity to show that she is sober, competent, and able to join the ranks of your profession once again. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Harris, do you wish to have Ms. Kindred Joe testify at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, we would call Ms. Kindred Joe.
And Ms. Kindred Joe, if you'd raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. Mr. Harris, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Kindred Joe.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm fine.
I want to provide the board just a little bit of background information. Can you please tell us how old you are?
I am 59.
And where do you reside?
I live in La Mirada, California.
And when did you start working in healthcare?
I began in 1987.
And in 1987, what was your role within the healthcare field?
In 87, I was an NA.
A nursing assistant?
Correct.
And did you then obtain education to become a licensed vocational nurse?
Yes.
Where did you attend nursing school?
Sacramento City College.
And do you recall the year in which you were ultimately licensed?
Yes, I do. 2001.
In 2001, thank you. While you worked as a registered nurse between 2001 and 2014, what type of work did you do?
Geriatrics. For the most part was geriatrics.
And did you find enjoyment in working in the geriatric field?
Yes, very much so.
Now, to get to why we're here today, do you recall that your license was disciplined in 2010?
11, yes.
Pardon me, thank you for correcting me, in 2011. Do you recall being placed on probation in 2011?
Correct, yes.
And do you later recall being subject to a petition to revoke that probation?
Yes.
And do you also recall that you surrendered your license to this board?
Yes.
Can you please tell the board to what you attribute the underlying issues that led to the loss of your license?
My alcoholism was the core, the main cause of me surrendering. Nothing on the job. It was strictly alcoholism. And are you asking me why I surrendered?
I think we'll speak to the reason, the underlying contributory factors that led to the issues that the board alleged. And I think as you touched on, it was alcoholism.
It was alcohol. It definitely. 05 was a cause, and 08 was the cause. Alcohol.
And did you also have a drug abuse issue?
Yes.
To what do you attribute your alcohol and drug abuse?
My depression, anxiety. I was in a state of darkness all the time. Poor self-esteem, overworked, and I never took the time out to care for myself. I never took the time to look after myself.
Were you in a relationship which also contributed to what you articulated as a dark time?
Yes, I was married to a much older Asian man. I was young when I married him.
And how did that relationship influence your drug and alcohol use?
I found myself in a state of, I diagnosed myself as anticipatory grieving from many, many years prior to his passing. And with it, I had prescription medications. I took them and I worked and I studied and I went to school. But there was a lot of anxiety involved in it all while I worked and took care of him as well.
Did your work in the geriatric field combined with having a much older husband that you cared for also contribute to alcohol and drugs?
I'm very sad to say yes.
Can you tell the board how?
I was overwhelmed with death. I'm sorry, that's the whole truth.
Appreciate your honesty. As you look back today, I just want to ask the very simple question, do you take responsibility for your past conduct?
Absolutely. Yes.
As the primary focus for the board today is rehabilitation, really want to speak to you about what's occurred since 2014. When was the last time that you abused a narcotic or other prescription medication?
2013.
And was that the time that led to one of the allegations in the petition to revoke your probation?
Yes.
And At that time, were you still using alcohol?
No,
When was the last time prior to 2014 you had been sober from alcohol?
I had stopped drinking February of 2010.
Now, in your petition packet, you were very honest that you had a relapse. Is that correct?
Yes,
When was that relapse?
2018,
Do you recall the date?
December, I want to say 11.
And how long did that relapse last?
One day, one night.
To what do you attribute that relapse?
An argument with my boyfriend. It was a heated argument with my boyfriend.
And how did you catch yourself after just one day to bring yourself back to the beginning of your sobriety again?
I knew that I needed to dive into to find a sponsor. I had been going to AA, but I needed to find a sponsor. I knew that I needed to find control of my anger and the fear of falling and staying in that dark area again, of drinking.
So in response to your relapse, did you find a sponsor?
I did.
And what is her name or his name?
Her name is Mary O'Connor.
And did Ms. O'Connor supply a letter of reference or support for you today?
Yes.
How often do you speak with Ms. O'Connor?
At a minimum now, 1 to 2 times a week.
Did you also tackle the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous?
Absolutely.
Have you worked all of the steps?
Yes.
Prior to your relapse, do you think that you were embracing Alcoholics Anonymous in the way that you should have?
No, I didn't. I had never worked the steps. I had never had a sponsor. I never took it seriously with the steps, actually working on the steps and involving the steps in my daily life.
How has obtaining a sponsor and working the steps helped you to combat your drug and alcohol abuse?
On a daily basis, we begin with prayer. I begin with prayer and knowing the steps. There's a lot of work to it, and knowing that I have people that are on the same path of sobriety helps me to live my life with a clear head, with a clear mind.
Did you also enroll yourself in an anger management program?
Yes.
What did you learn from that program?
I learned boundaries. I learned limits. I learned how to use tools to recognize triggers. I learned how to stay calm and not let. I know when to approach, when to not to get close to a trigger. The boundaries you learn before the argument gets heated, the consequences of it being angry.
Has your participation, or did your participation in anger management at all help contribute to some of your recovery from drug and alcohol?
Absolutely.
How so?
Yes. Well, I recognize, I'm more of a beautiful person than being mean and angry. I only get angry and mean when I'm drinking. I'm basically a calm person. But going through the anger management, I'm able to recognize how I want to be, how to stay away from those anger, heated moments.
Now, in addition to the anger management program, did you enroll yourself in therapy over the last 2 years?
I have.
Yeah. And what were the names of your therapists that you primarily saw?
I began with Dr. Gentleman at Biola College, Dr. Patrick, what was his name? Oh, Donovan. I've seen him a few times, I think about 5, on a weekly basis. Then I began my therapy for 6 months minimum with the Dr. Guzman, which my insurance took care of. And then when my insurance ran out, I couldn't afford it. I still had an outstanding bill with her. And then and then I seen Dr. Fisher, who I plan to stay with.
And what have you learned from your participation in therapy?
I have learned to like myself, not to be critical or judgment of myself. I've learned to approach life in a more positive light, and I learned that I'm more in conscious contact with a higher power, with being honest with myself.
You mentioned that you met with Dr. Fisher. Did he supply a substantive evaluation of you?
Yes.
And when you met with him and you've gone through your evaluations with him, have you discussed your past drug and alcohol use?
Absolutely.
And have you discussed the conduct that led to the loss of your license?
Yes.
And in fact, did you also discuss your relapse in 2018?
Yes.
Do you recall whether he opined as to whether you were safe or unsafe to practice as a nurse?
Yes, I asked him. He said I was steadfast in my sobriety. He's seen no foresee future of me turning to alcohol. And he said that I am a compassionate person.
Now, that's a doctor's opinion. Do you have the same opinion of yourself? Do you foresee using drugs or alcohol in your future?
No.
Why do you say that so definitively?
Because I've grown up. I've grown out of that dark, sad atmosphere. I've grown to like myself. I have a lot of potential. I want to return to school, and I don't like who I was. I didn't feel good as myself when I was that way.
Now, over the last several years, what have you done for employment?
I work at a grocery store. Right now I'm in the deli.
And for how long have you worked there?
I've been with this grocery store for nearly 2 years.
Have you found some level of enjoyment and calm in having steady employment?
Yes.
How so?
Oh, I can relate to people in a calm atmosphere. On the other side of life, not medical, and I see the real world. I only knew a medical field, a medical style of approach to people. Now I'm out there with people that are just normal, and I enjoy doing what I do. I do it good.
Excellent. Have you also been taking any courses to maintain medical knowledge?
Absolutely.
Do you recall how many hours of CE that you've taken over the last several years?
400, over 400.
And have you submitted evidence of most of that to the board?
Yes.
Why do you want to be licensed again?
I enjoy being a nurse. It's my passion. I have a passion to heal wounds. It's rewarding to heal. I have a passion for bedside care, proper bedside care. I enjoyed admitting patients. I believe that their admittance sets the tone for their way life is. I believe that when you admit a patient, it sets their tone of what they can expect. They can either give up, or they can except where their new home is. So I enjoyed admitting patients. That was a plus.
Now, what is the difference between who you are today and the person that you were back in 2014 when you lost your license?
Well, I have a clear mind, I don't have a pickled brain. I have a clear mind to think with. My brain is healthy. I stay motivated. I don't get in negative positions. I like myself. I like who I've become. I'm trustworthy, very, very much so. I've learned new sports. I've opened up and found myself where I wasn't able to before.
Do you think you have a different type of support system available to you today than you did in your past?
Absolutely.
Can you tell the board a little bit about the support around you?
My support is, like I said, I'm with a group of people, many people, on a daily basis who have the same journey. And we have that journey that everybody else, the people that don't know about alcoholics, we have a certain way of life. And I can call on any one of them or text them, and I do. And I have tools to provide me with the clear thinking to make the right decisions and choices.
Would you be willing to be drug and alcohol tested if the board were to grant your reinstatement?
Yes.
Would you be willing to continue to attend required therapy and AA on an ongoing basis?
Yes.
Are you prepared to pay the costs of the board's original prosecution back to the board?
I am prepared to make payments, to make a payment plan, and my children has opted to help me, but I can go back on a payment plan. Absolutely.
Is there anything that, in closing, before we turn it over to the board members who I'm sure have questions, that you want to say to the board to assure them that you're prepared for this task ahead?
Can I read something? Can I read something that
I think at this point, let's just answer this question. That's your closing, Ms. Kindred, I think you're referring to.
Okay. Yes, I want the board to know that I am very grateful to be here today and have the opportunity to be heard, finally. I'm a different person than I was in the past. I'm much stronger and dependable. I'm able to take care of myself. And I just want you to know that I'm not the person I was back then. I'm not that person any longer.
Very good. Your Honor, at this time, I don't have anything further for Ms. Kindred Joe, but I know she's more than willing to answer questions of Ms. Doherty and the various board members.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you. I just have a few questions for you, Ms. Kindred, and I appreciate your time this morning. Can you explain to me a little bit about if you found yourself with a patient that you had to administer drugs to, how would you go about administering those drugs to that patient?
Prudently. The way it's supposed to be, I would do my questions of pain, the pain assessment, if that's what the medication you're describing.
And do you feel comfortable administering patients medication?
Not, well, I am. I want to go back to the field passively, not gung-ho back into it. I want to acclimate into it. And I'll find my way, whether it's a treatment nurse or home health, part-time, I want to acclimate.
And leading into that, do you have, if your license was reinstated in a probationary status, do you have an idea of what type of role in the field you would like to have?
At this time, no.
Okay. And are you prepared to sit for the NCLEX if your license is reinstated?
No. I have located 2 schools in Southern California, just that to take a refresher course.
Okay. And have you taken any continuing education courses in medication administration? If you can recall.
Not in administration, not in administration. I've taken continuation courses in medication errors, and I've taken courses in the medication, not in administration, no.
Okay. And you talked a little bit about your support systems when it comes to your sobriety. Can you provide me a brief overview of what your relapse prevention plan looks like, if you have one?
My relapse prevention plan. Well, staying clear-headed, knowing that I can give myself options, and the options are that today is for today. I'll stay sober today, and I can only live one day at a time. But I know that if I get in a crunch, that I can call any one of my friends in the same journey, and stay away from the thoughts. The thoughts do not even come to my head. That answer?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you stated you attend Alcoholics Anonymous. Have you worked all the steps?
I have.
And what was the most difficult step?
Most difficult was 4.
And what is that step?
To make have to clear the path, get rid of all the garbage in your head, make assessment of all the people you've hurt. No, the 4th was to name and the events that I felt was that I feel. Oh gosh, I'm lost on 4, but that was the toughest.
Okay. Thank you.
That one is the very toughest. No, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And what was the most important step of that program for you?
Most important was 1 and 2.
And can you tell me what those steps are?
1 was admitted that I was powerless over alcoholism, and 2 was, oh my gosh, I am told blank. 2 was willing. I am so sorry. I'm so nervous right now.
That's fine.
But 3 was my favorite. 3 is what I live by every day.
And what is that?
And that is to know that there's a God willing to help me in my journey. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't even remember my text.
That's fine. And you stated earlier you still are attending anger management, correct?
I am not any longer. Is that what you're asking?
When did you stop? When did you stop attending anger management?
Well,
If you can recall.
it was supposed to be done in December. It went over until February, but because of COVID, we didn't finish until April.
Okay. And if you found yourself in a situation with a patient and they did something you didn't like or said something that may not come off as nice or had an issue with your care, how would you respond to that?
I would probably have them clarify why they didn't like, what's wrong with the care. Is that what you're asking me at that moment?
Correct. I just want to make sure what steps you would take to make sure that your anger doesn't overwhelm you in that situation.
Oh, I have never,
okay.
I can't recall being angry at a patient where I could not handle a moment of their anger.
Okay. And just a last, I know you touched on it, but if you can expand upon it, can you please provide the board with examples of assurances that you can give them that the such behavior that you engaged in prior is behind you?
Okay, repeat that because I didn't hear that.
What assurances can you give to the board that you've changed and you won't repeat your past acts?
Well, I can assure you that I won't drink and won't cause myself to disgrace the board with what happens if a person drinks, especially in my case. I can assure that I won't steal again or take medications that are not prescribed to me. Actually, I didn't, yes. I can assure you that I'll be an outstanding nurse and student, and I can reassure that I won't go down the same path that caused me to surrender my license or put on probation. I give you my word.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further at this time.
Mr. Harris, anything further on redirect?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Okay. So now I'll turn it to the board for any questions. First, Ms. Amazola de Herrera, do you have any questions?
Hi, good morning. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming today, sharing your story, and helping us understand where you are currently to be reinstated. And I wanted to just briefly explain that my role here as a public member is to protect the public. And what I'm seeing is that, or want to just confirm that your relapse was in 2018, and on December 12, 2018 is when you started AA and got a sponsor?
No. I had been at that AA meeting before that. I had started AA when I moved to Southern California, but I still had not got a sponsor.
So you have a sponsor. Your sponsor started in December 28th.
I actually looked around in that meeting, asked, and I believe maybe January she became my sponsor.
Okay.
It wasn't too long after I started when I went back to that meeting.
Yeah. We have. My last question would be, can you help me understand your process that you would take to not take narcotics from a patient? Just want to know, like, what would be your mental processing of, like, if you're having a stressful day at home or something happened in your relationship with family and you go to work and now you have to administer narcotics. What would you tell yourself?
I'm better than that.
You don't go there.
I'm better than that. I wouldn't do it. And I want to remain with a clear conscience, and I want to be honest with myself, to everyone I come in contact with, and I'm strong, healthier. I don't want to be unhealthy.
Thank you so much. That's all for me.
Thank you.
Ms. Carpenter, any questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning, virtually, Ms. Kendra Jo. You mentioned having suffered from depression and anxiety, but that you feel you have it under control. Is that correct?
Depression's under control. it's how I, look at life. Anxiety, I have a lot of anxiety these past few months. I would say this last year, working up to this meeting, but everything else is fine.
How have you dealt with the anxiety?
I'm sorry?
How have you dealt with the anxiety?
Oh, I just stay busy. I just stay busy, go to work. I get to see a therapist. I will continue seeing Dr. Fisher. Anxiety is something that I learned that is very, very common down here with a lot of people. I'm not the only person. But I try to stay healthy mentally and physically and pray. Just give it to God.
You mentioned also being able to identify triggers. Can you tell me what some of those triggers might be?
Triggers for anger was to know, just knowing a trigger would, I'm sorry, I'm really hearing myself through this microphone. This whole thing I've heard myself. So triggers are avoiding what I know is going to prompt some sort of anxiety. And I try to stay away from anything that's going to, promote any type of anger. A trigger, I can't pinpoint an object or or a person. I can't. But a trigger would be knowing what's going to upset me, and I just try to avoid them.
Can you perhaps envision a situation in the performance of your duties as an LVN that might be a trigger?
It could be anything. It could be a mess that you walk into when you start your shift. It could be a spilled, bottle of aspirins at the cart. Anything can really trigger you if you're not in the right calm mind at the moment. Trigger could be knowing. Let's see. A trigger could be walking in and having an upset patient want to try to hit me. That's not in their right mind. I can't step out of my reality of what is calm and staying in that place.
And do you feel equipped to deal with that type of trigger at this stage of your life?
Like I said, if I get my license back, I will acclimate to the profession.
Okay, I had one additional question. I need a clarification. In your petition, you say, if the board grants my petition, I will return to school to further my education in medical fields such as medical coding, social work, or teaching. My question is, you don't need your license back in order to pursue that. Excuse me. Why would you not just pursue that now?
I did go to medical coding. And then because of the background check, it prevents me from doing anything in the medical field. As far as teaching, I do need my LD license back so I can return to school for my RN. I want to teach. I want to teach CNAs and for proper bedside care. Yeah, I do need to have my LD license cleared Because like I said, the AIG, my background check comes back to where I can't do anything. I cannot even sponsor, I cannot even volunteer as a volunteer in a nursing home.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that. I have no further questions at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jerking, any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maxey, any questions?
None for me, Your Honor.
Thank you. Dr. Mountain, any questions?
Yes, and thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story with us, and congratulations on all your successes. I do just have one quick question. Nursing is a very stressful field, and anyone who's worked in it knows that it's very stressful, and healthcare is very stressful. Right now, we're in the middle of a terrible pandemic, and I think that stress level is higher than it's ever been. One of the things that you said was that you became overwhelmed with death and you went to a really dark place. And so I have a lot of concern about, with the reinstatement of your license, have you considered areas where you would work where you wouldn't see the overwhelming darkness that is part of healthcare because of the pandemic? I'm very concerned about that for you.
Thank you for asking. It's a twofold. I'm very grateful in a sense that I'm not out there right now. Yet I wished I was out there right now to help. Every day I think about what my friends and my coworkers are going through just to get a report to begin their work. It's an 8-hour job. It's that much just to get a report. I can't imagine what they're going through. I have thought about I've thought about many things, how if I'm put on probation again, if I'm allowed to have my license, I'm going to have to go to work, and nobody really hires when you're on probation. So I've looked around and I have found rehabilitation centers that hires LVNs, and so there's my beginning. That's where I think will be able to find employment. Other than that, like I said, I will try to do in-home care, acclimate back to the system. Southern California is a lot different than Northern California. I'm not prepared to be here, but I will acclimate to it and do 100%.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ms. Norton, any questions? Ms. Norton, your microphone's muted, so I don't know if you're trying to respond. There you go.
Oops, sorry. Okay, I'll start over again. Thank you, Anne, for being here, and thank you for your willingness to share and just being vulnerable in this situation. I know it must be difficult for you, and I can just only imagine the kind of anxiety that it does produce.
Avoiding time. Yeah.
I need you to help me understand a few things, because you've made some statements here, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
Sure.
You've made statements that you like yourself, that you're trustworthy, that you only get mean when you get angry and you drink, and that you had never done anything on the job.
I had never done anything else. Okay. The first two statements you made.
I haven't asked my question yet.
Sorry.
So there's a couple things I need you to explain, and I think that you are ready to explain one of them. You did have a period of time in 2012 where you tested positive for some drugs while you were on probation, and then you also had that incident where you took that medication from that patient and also was alleged that you left a paralyzed patient. So I need you to explain that for me. And then if you can also explain for me your sobriety date that you wrote, you said 2010 until December 2018, you don't mention 2012 testing positive. So do you not consider those drugs that you were on as being out of probation? Do you not consider that? If you can help me understand those.
I can give you the exact dates in 2012. I can answer those honestly, 100%, and almost give the dates to the day. In 2012, my husband was in the hospital for one night, the day before he passed. And he passed away August 3rd of 2012. And while he was in the hospital, the nurse gave me a syringe to give to him, liquid medication. He was on, his advance directive said no morphine. So I was under the impression, I don't know if I asked her or not, what was in the syringe. And I think she said some sort of, it was a pain medication. But his advance directive said no morphine. So I was under the impression there was none in there. He was asleep. I didn't give it to him. I didn't want to give it to him while he was asleep. So I took half of it, half of the syringe. Totally forgetting that when they tested me on the 13th, I believe, I buried him on the 11th. I think I tested on the 13th, or the results came back that I had morphine, fentanyl, and codeine, I think, was in the, and for the life of me, I could not answer why I had those in my system, because I had no idea what the board was talking about, forgetting that I had taken his medications when this came about, because why would I get morphine? I didn't know there was morphine in there because his advance directive said no morphine. So for a year by, or no, I think it was a while went by before I remembered, oh yeah, I took his medicine. So that's the answer to that one, I took my husband's medicine in the hospital.
So why did you take his medication? Well, first of all, you didn't know what was in the syringe?
I knew it was pain medication. I knew it was pain.
You knew it was pain medication?
Yes.
Okay.
And at the time, I was still taking my own pain medication.
Okay.
And my own medication.
Okay. You also are, okay, I can understand. I think I have a better picture now, and I'm really sorry for what you went through with your husband and him passing. It must have been just terrible. So you're not on any psych meds now, correct?
No.
Okay. And you feel like you have a clear handle on being able to go through life now because you like yourself, and what you've said is that you understand your boundaries, you understand, and you like yourself now. You have a clear head and you want to keep a clear head.
Correct.
And you're very honest in that you don't know where you want to work and that you need to reacclimate yourself, correct?
That's very true.
Is the driving factor, is the driving factor to get your license cleared so that you can pursue other avenues of work? Is this a stepping stone for you?
Yes, I cannot return to school to complete my RN. I cannot teach any capacity. I cannot do anything in the medical field because, yes, I want to teach. I definitely want to be a DSD to teach proper bedside care, or go into RN and
okay.
Something like that.
And do you have a support system to carry you through while you're waiting for the decision if the board reinstates your license? And then do you have something in place to assist you and protect you in the event that the board doesn't give you your license back? What happens to Ann, Kindred, Joe, if that doesn't happen?
Well, I have a life. I'm fine with my fiance. We have a house, and he plans to retire. We get along well. I've known him 43 years. I'll be fine. I have sports. I surf. I'm learning to surf. We camp. We have a life. I have a lot of activities, and I don't want to be a failure.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Rubalcava, any questions?
No further questions from me. Thank you.
And Ms. Turner, any questions?
Yes, I have a few. First, I'd like to thank you for all the letters of support that you submitted, as well as your hard work with your continuing education. What I'd like to know is you do suffer from depression and anxiety, although not so much with depression. Now, did you say that you take medication for that or not?
Ms. Turner, you're cutting in and out, so I don't hear you
Okay.
a lot clearly.
Are you on medication or not for anxiety and depression? No. Okay. And you said your sobriety date, or at least it's reflecting your records, the sobriety date was 2010, and the board granted you probation the first time around. Can you explain why you were unable to comply with the probation?
I was sober February 15th of 2010. I was put on probation in 2011. Now, if you want to, can you clarify that question? How did I fail the probation?
Yes. Why weren't you able to comply with probation?
What started out, I believe the first complaint was that I got a letter from Savannah Coop. I got letters from Fuentes, all these enforcement people at the board. We received a letter that I was positive for Ativan in my system. I was positive for this or that in my system. And I would write a letter back to the board that I'm very much aware of it. I have sent you, I gave you my prescriptions that I have. You wanted to know, so why are you questioning me why they're in my system? All right, so we went on with that for a long time. The next complaint I got from the board was that I don't know which one came first, the complaint about finding the morphine in my system or me missing all those phone calls. No, I'm pretty sure it was the complaint about the morphine. So I did fail in that fashion because I took someone else's medication, which was illegal. And then the phone calls, I'd missed so many phone calls. Well, that's partially such a naive and ignorant thing that I did. I would sleep with the phone under my pillow every morning. My husband I was taking care of him, and but I would sleep with the phone under my pillow so that I would call this random number, every day to find out it was my time to test. And I did it first thing in the morning so I could plan my day, because I knew that, I had to plan it around his care. And I don't know what got me to think this, but I realized that I hadn't urinated or tested on weekends, on a Saturday or Sunday. I said, well, why is it, like 5 months have gone by now and I haven't, tested on a weekend. So I looked at the information that the board had given me where to go to test. And I looked on it and there was nothing open to go test on the weekends. Again, I have to let you know, I'm hearing myself echo. So I didn't know where to go to test on the weekends. There was nothing in Sacramento. On the list of facilities that the board had given me, there was nothing. The closest thing was near Tahoe. And then you had to have an appointment. So my naive, not clear-headed thinking thought, well, I don't have to call on the weekends. And a year later, I found out that I'd missed like 97 times. And I thought, well, why didn't they let me know it sooner than a year go by? In between that, I missed a few times, and I can only attribute that to forgetting to call. Another factor in the complaint was that I didn't turn in my quarterly reports on time. I missed once. I have the evidence that I did miss twice, but I actually, or that I didn't turn it in, but I did. I have the signatures and I have the proof. I missed turning them in on time. One day was late, and one of them was late. Another, do you want me to go further?
No. If the board were to, well, are you able to comply with any terms and conditions that the board may, offer to you in accordance with our regulations and statutes?
Absolutely. Very willing and happily.
I also noticed that you've applied and your counsel has applied to have your prior cases, convictions dismissed, but I noticed that the judge did not sign off. What is the status of those?
Yes, they are still in progress. The 2005, for some reason, they cannot find them in the system. And the 2008, he has to send in more paperwork for that. I don't know what about the 05. We're going to find that out.
Have you had any other convictions since those?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've gone through all the board members, but I'll ask one more time in case some additional questions have popped into mind. Are there any other questions by the board? Okay, hearing none, Ms. Kindred Joe, you're excused as a witness. Mr. Harris, do you have any other evidence you wish to present?
No further evidence, Your Honor.
Okay.
May I say something? No.
Who was that? Was that Ms. Kindred Joe?
No.
So Mr. Harris, and that reminded me, there was reference to a written statement she had, and you mentioned something about it being a closing. Did you want her to present that as a closing on her own behalf, or did you want her to present that through her testimony?
Your Honor, thank you. Yes, Ms. Kindred Joe has asked if although unconventional, if she can read her own closing today. I don't believe it would be part of testimony, but I think better as an advocacy statement at the end.
Okay, and is that in lieu of your closing?
That's correct, if you would permit it, Your Honor.
Okay, sure. So we'll go to closings then. Ms. Doherty, do you wish to give a closing?
No, not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Harris, you're closing, and I believe you mentioned you wanted to allow Ms. Kindred Joe to present the closing on her own behalf. So if that's the way you wish to proceed, Ms. Kindred Joe, whenever you're ready.
I have a question. I have to say this. I didn't, Mrs. Turner, I didn't get to finish her. She made a statement about the care I gave to a patient, and I didn't get to finish that explanation of the patient I was accused of abandoning. Is that something that we were going to talk about?
Did you say Ms. Turner or Ms. Norton?
I believe it was Ms. Turner, wasn't the last
No, I
person?
didn't. No, it was not me.
It was actually me. It was Miss Norton that asked that question.
Norton,
So
yes, I didn't finish my explanation of that time. I did not abandon that patient.
Your Honor, at this point, I'm going to step in and object. We're not here. She can provide us an explanation, but we're not here to relitigate the underlying facts.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Ms. Norton, did you feel that you still had a question outstanding?
no, I do not. I'm satisfied with the answer that she gave. It was more of a collective series of events that happened there.
Okay. All right.
Thank
So,
you.
Ms. Kindred Joe, you're closing?
Sure. Okay. I'd like to read you. So, I want to leave here today knowing that you know who I am. There is so much more to me than the issues that led to me losing my LVN license. I would not be here today without a lot of people by my side. And I have to share a moment of gratitude. As I want to thank all of you as the members of the board and my attorney, Scott, my therapist, my sponsor, Mary, and all my friends who've contributed to my rebirth and assisted me through this process. I have very fond memories of wanting to become a nurse. I started as a CNA and I put myself through school. I was happy and fortunate to care for others. However, somewhere along the way, I lost myself. I was learning to be a good nurse. I was learning languages, and I got married at a very young age to a much older Asian man who ended up passing away years later. I had to care, excuse me. I had to care for him, just as I had to care for my geriatric patients. And I had to navigate cultural differences away from the familiarity of my own home. I think I was in a constant state of anticipatory grieving about his death and the loss of my patients, and I don't believe I ever took the time to acknowledge, process, and address my own emotions, my fears, anxieties, and depression. As I look back, alcohol and drugs were simply a way to avoid my life. Since I lost my license, I started to become better acquainted with myself, to embrace friendships in the community, and to find a way to care for me. I have learned so much over the ensuing years. I'm grateful for my personal growth. I'm grateful for my support system. I'm grateful for my clear mind. And my clear mind allows me to know that I can live for tomorrow, committed to my sobriety and to bettering myself each and every day. Nursing is not just a profession to me, it's a way of life for me. I sit here very humbled, and I sincerely express my deep regret for my dishonorable, unethical, and reckless behaviors in the past. I know I am ready to embrace my duties as a nurse. I am thankful for my challenges and misfortunes, just as I'm thankful for this opportunity, for this hearing today. I'm thankful to the board, as it has forced me to reckon with myself, to get help, and to become healed. I'm willing and wanting to do whatever it takes to demonstrate to you that I'm ready, able, and competent to be a nurse. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So this concludes the hearing on this petition. The record's closed and the matter submitted, and we are off the record. Mr. Harris, as I mentioned earlier, the board will deliberate in closed session over the petition a little bit later and then reach a decision. So a written decision will not be issued today.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Dr. Mountain, shall I turn it back to you for any interim matters, or shall we just proceed to the next matter?
I believe we should proceed to the next matter. I am wondering, I wanted to ask the moderator, have there been short breaks built in?
This is the moderator. If you would like to take a break now, we can put up a slide saying at what time we'll return.
I think probably a 10-minute break. We've been in session for 2 hours. I think a 10-minute break is probably in order.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you.
All right, this is the moderator. We will return at 10:58. This is the moderator. The time is 10:59. I just want to double check if all of our board members are back.
This is Ms. Norton. I'm back.
This is Board Member Ken Maxey. I'm back.
Carol Mountain is back.
John Deere King is back.
Paula Mazzola is back.
Cheryl Turner is back.
Melissa Rubkava is back.
Alicia Carpenter is back.
All right, I believe that was everyone. And do we also have our executive officer back? This is the moderator again. I just want to verify that our executive officer is back before we get started again.
This is Elaine Yamaguchi back in the room.
This is the moderator. Thank you. Board President, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we can proceed.
This is the moderator. I'll go ahead and promote our next panelist, petitioner up to a panelist. TB, I'm going to promote you up to a panelist. And if you could turn on your microphone and also, turn on your microphone for a mic check and also turn on your camera.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you, and you're a little quiet. You may want to bring your microphone to your a little bit closer to your mouth.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay, I'm using my son's game microphone thing. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we're ready to get started. So we'll call the matter of the petition for reinstatement of TV Kinfee. So let's go ahead and go back on the record. We're on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for reinstatement by TBE Kinfee, KINFE. It's OAH number 2020-070-572. My name's Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. To establish a quorum for the board, if I could have each member respond audibly after his or her name is called. Ms. Amazola de Herrera. Ms. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Deerking.
Present.
Mr. Maxey.
Present.
Dr. Mountain.
Present.
Ms. Norton.
Present.
Ms. Rubalcava.
Present.
And Ms. Turner.
Present.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that a quorum is present. If I could take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General.
Thank you. Caitlin Doherty, appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Professions Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board have adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you. And Your Honor, before we move on, I just want to make sure petitioner's camera is turned on, or am I just the only one not seeing a picture?
This is the moderator. Thank you. I was about to wait to interrupt to ask if our petitioner could turn on her camera.
Oh, I thought it was on. I see myself.
The camera button on WebEx should be right next to your mute.
Yeah. Can you see
There
me
you
now?
are.
I see
Yes, we can.
myself.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. What about my mic? There's a line through it. Should I press it? No.
No, we could hear you fine.
Yep. Okay.
If your microphone is
that,
gray,
that threw me
means you're
too.
unmuted.
So if it's gray, it is live. If it's red, it's muted.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, and for the record, are you TV Kinfee?
Yes, my name is Tabe Kinfe. I do notice, I don't know if it makes any difference, that my last name is spelled wrong on the screen after the number 2. It's actually Kinfe.
Okay, and that's how I show it in the records. Okay,
great.
Thank you. Ms. Kinfe, were you present during the prior petition hearing?
Yes.
Okay, and so yours will proceed in a similar fashion in that Ms. Doherty will present the petition packet that you presented and provide a general summary of what led up to your discipline, and then we'll turn the matter over to you to present your evidence. Okay? And just keep in mind that what the board is most interested in is any rehabilitation you have undergone since surrendering your license. So while a little bit of the background of the prior discipline is necessary to understand and what happened and provide context, that's not the main focus, and we're not here to relitigate the prior discipline. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. And I just want to confirm that you are representing yourself today?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we weren't waiting for someone else. All right, very good. Ms. Doherty, if you'd like to proceed with the documents.
Thank you. I would like to mark for identification Exhibit 1, which the board members and petitioner have been provided the same copy of these documents. Exhibit 1 generally consists of the petition for reinstatement and supporting documents submitted by petitioner, which includes a handwritten continuing education list written by petitioner for 3 classes, all of which were completed in 2018. A Gunrick Academy unofficial transcript for classes completed in 2019, an official transcript for the Institute of Technology Physical Therapist Assistant Program, performance evaluations from the Fresno Veterans Home for 2017 and 2018, and then 4 letters of recommendation, all from RNs. A copy of respondent's or petitioner's nurse assistant license, which expires January 1st of 2021. A copy of her basic first aid and life support certificates, which expired on December of 2020, and a copy of petitioner's California driver's license. Following that is the license certification for petitioner, and what is marked as Tab C is the notice of hearing and related correspondence in this matter. Following that is what's been marked as Tab D is the 2013 board decision in this matter for case number VN 3874. Following that is the 2017 board decision in this matter. At this time, I ask that Exhibit 1 be admitted for all purposes.
Okay, those documents are marked collectively as Exhibit 1. Ms. Kinfei, do you have any objection to Exhibit 1 being admitted for all purposes?
No.
Okay, 1 is so admitted. Ms. Doherty, if you would like to begin with your summary.
Thank you. On or about May 10th, 2002, the California Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians issued vocational nurse license number 199445 to petitioner. On February 6, 2012, the board filed accusation number VN 2008-1897 against petitioner. The board adopted the proposed decision of the administrative law judge on June 7, 2013. The judge found that respondent's license was subject to disciplinary action under Code Section 2878 on professional conduct, Subdivision J, engaging in acts involving dishonesty, Code Section 2875.5, Subdivision A, unlawful possession of a controlled substance, furnishing to another a controlled substance as defined in Division 10 of the Health and Safety Code, or any dangerous drug as defined in the Business and Profession Code Section 2878J. The acts that led to this discipline is respondent conspired to smuggle controlled substances into the prison system and illegally possess controlled substances. It is important to point out that the ALJ found that respondent failed to take responsibility for her actions in this case. Effective July 7, 2013, the board revoked respondent's vocational nurse license, ordering cost of $7,022.50. Petitioner currently has an outstanding balance of $5,606. In 2017, petitioner petitioned for reinstatement of that license. However, petitioner's reinstatement was denied. On or around September 26, 2019, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her vocational nurse license. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question petitioner. Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Kimfei, now's your opportunity to present your evidence. First, if you would raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may put your hand down. And so we allow you to provide whatever testimony you would like to. And I just remind you again that what the board is most interested in is any rehabilitation you have undergone since your license was revoked. With that, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor, and thank you, board members, for giving me a chance to see my case and to hear me out. I just want to say that I continue to be a law-abiding citizen. I continue to work in the field that I am passionate about and want to continue my education in. I have my CNA. I continue to take classes that's in the health field. I also would do many, sorry, I'm just so nervous as well. Many like classes at work and my CNA and my CPR, everything is updated. I've taken many classes to continue my education and hopefully become a RN and eventually, hopefully a nurse practitioner. I'm kind, I'm humble. I take full responsibility for my actions that has, brought me to this where I'm at right now. And I just, ask the board to give me another chance. I haven't gotten in trouble. Just being a mother, working as a CNA in the field, keeping things updated as far as my education and meds and things like that. I take full responsibility for my actions. Like I said, that has brought me here. I take full accountability as well, and since the incident that was in 2009, I'm 41 years old. I'm mature, and I've just changed. Of just as a person, I just work, take care of my kids, and I am sufficiently rehabilitated and capable of practicing safely as a licensed vocational nurse. It's my passion. It's like right now, I still haven't gave up on it. I still go to work every day. We still get, every 2 weeks our COVID test. It's my COVID testing. It's just my passion. It's what I want to do. And I just hope and pray that you guys can find it in your heart to believe that people do deserve second chance. And I hope that you guys do give me a second chance. I made the mistake. I take full accountability for it. And that's just it. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, I'll give Ms. Doherty a chance to ask you questions, and then that may refresh your mind, refresh your recollection of some things, additional things you may want to say. And so after she asks her questions, I'll come back to you to see if you have any more. So,
Well, just basically, I'm sorry. Just
go
to
ahead.
say that, I'm a hard worker. I'm humble. I'm compassionate. I take very good care of my patients. I get along well with everyone. Like I said, I take full accountability for my actions, and if nothing like that's ever happened again, and it's never going to happen again, and I just, want a second chance. This field is my passion, and I enjoy helping others, and I enjoy working on a team. And that's all.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Can you explain to, or you conspired to smuggle drugs into a prison, correct?
Correct.
And can you tell me briefly what the circumstances are that made you engage in that conspiracy?
I was with someone at that time that, and the phone was in my name, and things were being said, and things happened, and I was involved. I should never been involved. And nothing's like that's ever happened. It will never happen again. I don't deal with nobody that I've used to deal with before. And I take full responsibility for my actions. Whether it was, and I'm sorry.
And you just stated that you don't engage with any of those other individuals that this conspiracy took place with. Is it true that you don't engage with the father of your son?
Well, not really, because I believe I don't know where he's at this time.
And so is it your testimony that he is not currently involved in your life?
At this time, no.
And what made you obtain those controlled substances?
Well, the thing is, I never obtained them. I never went to the prison. It was a conspiracy. It was talked about.
Okay. And do you currently have any cases or criminal convictions or criminal cases pending against you?
No, ma'am. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Like, please do not judge me off that. Like, I'm not a criminal. No, I don't have no cases. I will not have none. I'm a normal law-abiding citizen, ma'am.
And going off that statement, is there any convictions that the board is not aware about then? Have you ever had a conviction that the board's not aware about?
No.
Okay, thank you. And what do you currently do for a living?
I'm a CNA, med tech sometimes. I took a class and I passed the class, so sometimes I'll assist passing meds and assisted living, assist the patient, watch them take the med and make sure they take it and things. And I'm I'm aware of diagnosis and medications. I just want to let you guys know that I've been keeping updated on, things. Like, it won't be just like out of the norm for me. Like, I'm still in the field, and that's what I enjoy doing. I'm passionate about it. And I think I'm a good, valuable, member of a team.
And as a CNA at an assisted living facility, can you explain to me a little bit of what your role is, what you assist with, what's your job responsibilities?
We assist with bathing, toileting, assist them with taking their meds, making sure that, they're safe. We do laundry, basically complete patient care.
And how long have you been a CNA?
Since the LVN was revoked 2013, since 2014.
Okay. And when's the last time you actually practiced as a vocational nurse?
That was July 2013. I believe it's the 6th or 5th.
Okay. And can you explain to me a little bit of what you do to keep up with the current nursing practices? I saw that you had submitted 3 CEs, but those were completed in 2018. Is there anything you've done recently to keep up with those practices?
I took, we have a thing at work where there's Reliasis. It's just many papers. Yeah, we have to take, classes like HIPAA, patient care, medication administration, proper lifting or proper body mechanics, different kind of diagnosis, how to take care of patients with diabetes, strokes, Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's and dementia, or behavioral issues. We're trained on that, and we take classes on Relias. And also, I've 2019. I believe was I took a nutrition class at Gurnick, and I'm always reading. I also took the last one I took was nutrition. I don't know if you have that. Yeah, nutrition, which was in 2019 at Gurnick, and that was like the last class that I need for my if I will, if I'm granted the opportunity to become RN. So I just took that, and like I said, constantly reading, constantly taking classes on the computer at work. Also, they have people coming in and showing us how to do like proper body mechanics and transfers and CPR and first aid care.
And do you understand that you currently have $5,606 outstanding in cost recovery to the board?
Yes. Does that grow interest?
My understanding is no, that is part of the original underlying case that was ordered.
And ma'am, I just want to say I have made a couple payments. I attempted, but it's really hard to be a single mother, pay mortgage, take care of the kids and everything. But I don't know if you can see or have any records there, but I did attempt to make several payments. Also in 2017, it said that because they took my taxes, state taxes every year, it says it's 5,522 and 50 cents. It's probably lower than that, but then I see here that you guys put $5,606, which is why I ask, is there like interest that grows on it, or?
There is no interest, and that will be something that we'll clarify with board staff. Regarding
Because I know it's lower than that, and I will continue to attempt to pay, and I will pay it off. And like I said, I have made a couple payments, and it's just really hard at the wage that I'm making now. But I do plan to continue to make payments.
And if your license is reinstated on a probationary status, would you be able to comply with the terms of probation?
Absolutely, absolutely. I will go above and beyond like I always do. I will not let myself down. I will not let you guys down. I will not let my family down, my children especially, who look up to me. I have a great support system. My mother, my father, my brothers. I'm the oldest. I will go above and beyond. I promise. I just want a chance. So yes, that is nothing no one has to worry about.
And if your license was reinstated, would you be prepared to sit for the NCLEX exam?
Absolutely.
And what are your future plans if your license is reinstated?
Excuse me. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Like I said, I've been continuing to take my RN classes. I want to get my RN, I want to get my BSN, and I want to be a nurse practitioner ultimately. And I know that I'm a very caring person. You know, I just made a mistake and I know I would be good. And I know I'm a valuable team member to, you know, the healthcare industry. I care about the patients. I care about their family members. You know, you become close with the family members as well. And yeah, I'm prepared. I've been actually studying off the NCLEX, the TEAS, and like I said, we're constantly given tests at work. We just did like a dehydration one. So like I'm constantly educating myself. And I would just, I would just order the latest NCLEX book and study it, go over it and, you know, do it. But I know I can do it.
And if this license is reinstated, do you plan on utilizing this license, or are you asking for it to be reinstated to obtain your RN license?
No, I'll work as an LVN, of course, if I'm granted, you know, because you have expensive RN school, so I would work. I want to work as an LVN. And then I also want to, you know, elevate my education as far as I can go.
And then, do you hold any other healthcare profession licenses that the board's unaware of, or certifications?
I have my CNA. I also went and took an administrative class for 5 days, or 5 to 7 days. I can't really remember. Um, it was for administration, and I did go and I took the test and I passed it, but I was gonna open a home for developmentally disabled people, and you know, take care of them and give them the love that they deserve. That like I know how, but it just takes a lot of money, and you know, my passion is really just in nursing and being on the floor and helping people like that.
And
So
my last,
I do have I believe it's called administration certificate.
okay. And any others?
Um, no.
Okay. And my last question is what assurances can you provide the board that your past acts are behind you and you won't commit these acts again?
I'm older, I'm mature. I've also, I think, displayed that, you know, I haven't had any issues. I haven't got in trouble. I think that shows, like, you know, how much I've matured and elevated and just going to work. I just got off work at 6:30 this morning and just been waiting nervously to do this. And I just, gosh, you know, I'm continuing to be, I'm in the field, I'm older, and just please take my word that I haven't gotten any trouble. I don't tend to get in trouble. I'm really not that type of person, but I made a mistake and I take full accountability for it. And I would just show you, you know, I don't know, I guess I'll just show you. And that I have displayed, good behavior and keeping up with my CEUs and keeping a job in the health field and just continuing with my passion and just praying that, and I just pray that you guys will give me another chance in my love for the field. I don't know what else to say. I just have to show you.
I have nothing further for this petitioner at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kempe, any further testimony you would like to provide on your behalf before I turn it to any questions from the board?
Just that, again, I'm sufficiently rehabilitated. I'm more than capable of practicing, and I just want a chance to show you guys that I can do it, and I will not let you guys down. Or let myself down, or anybody around me, my support system, my patient, everyone that's involved. And that's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I'll turn it to the board for any questions. Any questions, Ms. Turner?
Yes, I do. And I understand that at the Superior Court proceeding, your case was dismissed by the judge for insufficient evidence. Is that your recollection? What happened?
I believe so. This happened in 2009. I don't have the paperwork, so I didn't realize I needed them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what happened. I'm not on any, I never was on probation or nothing like that. There's nothing, my fingerprints are clear. I don't have nothing on my record or anything like that.
I'm asking whether you know if your case was dismissed by the judge.
Yes, I believe it is. Yes.
Did you make any admissions of guilt in that case?
No. It was dismissed. I wasn't asked.
Okay. So what, do you understand the basis of why your license was revoked if the case was dismissed against you?
Yes, it was conspiracy.
I didn't understand you.
They said it was conspiracy. I don't know what you're asking me, really.
Okay, maybe it's
dismissed because there wasn't sufficient evidence. Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I could dig up the paper. I don't know. I didn't realize I needed it.
Okay, that's okay.
If you don't mind me interjecting, I'd just like to provide some clarification for the record regarding that criminal conviction.
Yes.
So her criminal proceeding was against her were actually dismissed in accordance to
Penal Code 1385.
Correct. And so she was never convicted of anything. The board's allegations and findings were due to the evidence that was provided to the board and that was present at the time of hearing.
All right. And so we're supposed to be focusing now on rehabilitation, correct? Not upon.
I know. That's just so sad. I didn't realize that I needed those papers.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
It's like I'm constantly just.
Ms. Rubalcava, any questions?
Yes, hi, I have a couple questions. So you said that you've been fully rehabilitated, and I was just wondering if you've attended any therapy or do you go to any support groups, any personal development that you can tell us about?
I have a great support group. My mother, my 6 children, my father, my brothers. I go to church. Well, because of COVID, we couldn't go, but I have a, good church support system. That's my support system.
Okay, thank you. So no ongoing therapy or any outside kind of support groups that you attend for personal growth?
No, I mean, I would. but I work night shift. I don't know where I would find the time, but I think that I've personally grown by just, evidenced by continually to be a humble, compassionate, law-abiding citizen, keeping a job, continuing my education, and just living normally. I haven't had any trouble, and I wasn't told to go to no programs or things like that. I'm personally developed and grown within myself because I'm 41 now and I've experienced things in life, and you go through things in life, you experience them, and it makes you a better person if you let it. And that's what happened to me. I'm a better person. I'm mature. I have 6 kids that look up to me. That's my growth and development, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Okay, thank you for that. One more question. If you were granted reinstatement, where do you plan on working as an LVN?
Where I'm working at now, memory care, assisted living. I also do have, since maybe in like a cancer unit or something, because I lost my brother in 2014 after I took cancer. So I do have a passion for that and helping those people and, making them feel good or giving them like a little, little light, little sunshine while they're going through chemo. Or so I've been thinking about that, if I can emotionally handle it. Just going to show, giving my heart, my compassion, and the way I just care for patients, but doing it to cancer patients because I've seen what my brother went through and, how the aides and the nurses made a difference in his daily, routine and going through chemotherapy and everything. So I'd probably work in the cancer unit, oncology unit, or also I love my elderly patients. That's the area that I've most worked at my whole career. And so I'll definitely stay in that area.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Ms. Norton, any questions?
Yes, I do have some questions. So in regard to the case that you were never prosecuted and that your criminal case was dismissed, you do admit to participating in the conspiracy, though, because in your packet you said that you wrote in 2009 I was involved in a case with my ex. I went to court for conspiracy because there was talk of some unlawful things on the phone, and the phone was in my name at that time. The case against you was dropped. So you do admit to participating in this conspiracy, correct?
Yes, I admit and take full accountability of the phone calls, and because the phone was in my name and the actions that were taken because of the calls and my participation in it. And that was in 2008 and 2009. I know you guys keep asking me about that, and that's fine, but I've grown. I'm 41 years old. People grow, people get better, people can get better. And that's what I've done, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. And people will try to bring you down, but you know what? I take full accountability for it, but I've grown from it, and I'm going to continue to grow. Thank you.
So the question I was going to ask you is, what was wrong with you? What was wrong with your participation in that? What did you do wrong, and how have you grown?
I was wrong to even be involved with a person like that, and I've changed because I don't deal with people like that. I don't deal with nobody really but my children and my family members. We have a big family. I've grown because I just don't do things, moves or be involved with people. Uh, you just mature and don't do things that you used to do at certain ages now. I'm just a better person overall, matured mentally, everything. So yeah, I've grown because I don't do the things that I used to do, or I don't involve myself with people that are not wanting the same things in their life, or people that I don't have nothing in common with. I like to be around people who like want to be, educate themselves, further their careers, just passionate people with goals and plans.
So you made a statement, you said that I am not a criminal, I am a law-abiding citizen. So would you agree that can I ask my question?
Yes, sorry.
Would you agree that participating in 2008 in that conspiracy to smuggle drugs into the prison, do you consider that, were you a criminal then? Do you consider that you were a law-abiding citizen then? Or can you speak to that?
Yeah, I was a law-abiding citizen then that, just made a mistake and got caught up and wrapped up in love, basically, and just young and just not knowing things and not understanding things. And, like your actions result in consequences. It's very important to, always take the right path with the right people and just live the right way like I'm doing now.
You said that you got wrapped up in love. Was that because of your son's father?
Yes.
And you are not in a relationship with your son's father at this time, per your testimony, because you don't know where he is?
No, I wouldn't be with him even if I know where he was. I'm in a different place in my life.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Mountain, any questions?
Yes, I just have a quick question. You've been going to school, it sounds like, fairly consistently, is that correct?
Correct.
Have you taken any classes on ethics or done any CEUs on ethics after your incident in 2008?
Oh yeah, many classes.
And where
Just
did you take those classes through?
Through work, like like ethics, and along with HIPAA, how to treat patients, what's right, what's wrong. Yeah.
And specifically, do you see how those ethics would apply if you got your license reinstated?
Absolutely. Always do no harm. I'll continue to be the person that I am. I'm an ethical person. And they do help. It's always good to take classes and learn new things or new ways to handle things.
I'm asking these questions because I believe that nursing is a higher calling and that we are held to a different standard. And I'm wanting to establish or understand if you are comfortable with that standard, should you have your license be reinstated?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm ethical every day. I practice it every day at work. So yes, I'm more than ready.
Okay. And can I ask, how old is your son now?
My son is 9.
He's 9. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Maxey, any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. I just have one question, Ms. Kefne. So you mentioned a lot of rehabilitation, and I want to applaud you for that effort that you've done and changing your life and seeing the changes you need to make. You said your family has been really important to you, and so you have a big family, and that's really important as well. And I'm sorry about the passing of your brother. Who professionally do you lend an ear to or serves as your mentor in regards to the nursing profession? And if you do not have one, are you open to, at least opening that door for one or more than one?
I have plenty, the nurses that I work with. I have one friend, she also wrote me, we started off together. She's an RN now and a supervisor at home health, Tracy Gideon. I turn to her. She's constantly teaching me. She knows me. We worked together on the floor for many years as LVN. So I turn to her, and she's good at that. She has good teaching skills. She does home health, so she's constantly teaching patients, and she's good at it. And besides her, I'm open to any person that will help me and mentor me as well. But there's a lot of people.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Durking, any questions? Mr. Durking, do you have any questions?
This is the moderator. It looks like board member Dear King has dropped off the call. I'm going to check if he relogged back in.
Okay.
Yep, he did. Let me get him promoted back up to a panelist. Board member Dear King, are you able to unmute your microphone?
Thank you. I can
Thank you.
hear. I know you can hear me. I was able to hear you, but I was muted because I dropped off the call. I have just a couple questions here, if I may, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Kenfee, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for hearing me.
Yes, I just want to go over a couple items here. You were asked to please provide a detailed explanation, as Ms. Norton already indicated, as to why your license was revoked. You indicated at question 3 on your petition that in January 2009, I was involved in a case with my ex. I went to court for conspiracy because there was talk of some unlawful things on the phone. Do you recall writing that?
Yes, I believe.
Okay, who are the parties to that particular communication where the conspiracy was discussed?
It was him and people that I didn't know, but he knew.
Okay, did you have any conversations at all?
I'm sorry, you're like, what was that?
Were you party to any of those phone conversations?
Yes. I was on there. I was making the three-way calls. But I would put the phones down and then, but still, I made the calls. It was my phone. I take full accountability for it. And I just want to move forward from that.
Yes, I understand that. My question is, what is the part that you take responsibility for?
Being involved, period, providing a communication and an outlet for him.
Because in point of fact, it was more than phone conversations, correct?
No, it was phone conversations. I've never went to the prison. I've never, got caught with anything. It was just said to be conspiracy because the conversations were on my phone. And I would make these calls. And, like I said, this was a long ago. If I would have known that I was going to be asked all over again, I would have bought, the case papers out, dug them up. That was like 2008, 2009. But yes, that was my involvement. That was the conspiracy part of it, and I do take full responsibility for that. And I've never done nothing like that again. I've never, I don't even.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, and please correct me if I'm mistaken or I didn't hear you correctly, you're indicating that you're part of the conspiracy was simply that your phone happened to be an instrument used through other people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
And
but
the
isn't
conversations and.
Okay, well, isn't it true that there was written correspondence where you acknowledged some of the underlying elements of the conspiracy? And the reason I say that is that page D005, the administrative law judge decision in 2012 at paragraph 11, there was written correspondence where you stated that you did something and gave it to one of the individuals who was also named in the conspiracy. Do you recall that?
No, I don't have those papers. It could be. Is it in this paper? Yeah, that possibly could be true if it's in the papers. It was a while. I don't know.
Okay, and the reason I ask that is simply for background as to really why you're here today in your petition for reinstatement. So the question, and I think you've alluded to it before, but I really did not hear a clear answer. So let me ask you, how specifically have you grown since the underlying conduct for which you were initially charged back in 2008 and 2009? How have you grown?
How I've grown is I've grown because it hasn't happened again. It will never happen again. I'm a different person. I make the right moves. I just go to work, take care of my children, pay bills. So I've grown because I don't make the same moves than I when I did then. I've grown because I don't deal with the people that I used to deal with. I've grown like as a whole. And that's evident that, I haven't got in trouble and I haven't had any issues. So I think that, that does show my growth and I will continue to grow.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Guthrie. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Ms. Carpenter, any questions?
No, my questions have all been answered. Thank you.
Okay, I think I've gone through. Oops, nope. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, any questions?
I apologize for the noise. I hope you can hear me. I think I just want to clarify something that my colleague John Dearkin was talking about. What paragraph? I'm trying to read the document again. John?
Yes, I'm sorry.
What paragraph were you referring to?
Paragraph 11 at page D, as in David, 005.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Judge, I do not have any questions right now. I just needed to make sure I was reading the paragraph. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I believe I've gone through the entire board, but I'll ask again in case some others have thought of questions in the meantime. Are there any further questions by any members of the board? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Kinfei, you're excused as a witness.
Judge, just before she's excused, I just want to clarify something for the record, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that the current outstanding costs, I did check with board staff for enforcement investigation for this petitioner is $5,606. It shows that petitioner had made a prior payment off the original restitution amount totaling, 3 payments totaling of $120.50. So just for the board's record and understanding, and your understanding, that's currently the outstanding balance of $5,606. Thank you.
Your Honor, I do have a question. This is Cheryl Turner.
Okay, Ms. Turner, go ahead.
Okay, for the Deputy Attorney General, do we have a copy of the letter referred to in paragraph 11, page D005, that was intercepted from the respondent? Are you familiar with that document? Is it in the
I'm familiar with the decision in that document and the factual findings going along with that case. Because this is a reinstatement, we would not we would not have that document present here today or for consideration, because what we are going off of is what was the factual findings in that proceeding, and off that factual finding, it shows that there was that document present at that hearing. I don't know if that clarifies or if that answers your question.
So even though there's discussion around the document, which sounds to me like hearsay, we don't have access to actually see the document, or maybe even double hearsay, but we don't have access to that.
No, not today. Not obviously relitigating this matter. Petitioner had brought it, that'd be different. But since we are not relitigating this matter, we wouldn't be reproducing evidence that was produced in a prior hearing. We go off those final decisions. Does that clarify your question?
Somewhat, yes. Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions from any members of the board? All right, hearing none, Ms. Kinfei, you're excused as a witness. Ms. Kinfei, do you have any further evidence you would like to produce?
No, sir.
Okay, so closing arguments, Ms. Doherty?
We have no closing at this time. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Kinfei, your closing argument?
My closing argument is basically I understand what I did. I understand my involvement. I take full accountability for it, and I feel like it shows that I have grown by continuing to do the right things and not getting in trouble, not having any new cases, not also continuing my education and continuing to have the passion to be in the healthcare field. I do believe everyone deserves a second chance, and I just hope that you guys also believe that everyone, does deserve a second chance. And I hope that you guys give me a chance. And like I said, I will not let myself down. I won't let you guys down. I won't, I will I will just go above and beyond to show the appreciation of me, having my license back and continuing my education and continuing to be a, reliable and good team member in the health field. Um, you know, I'm more than ready. That's all I have to say, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes the hearing on this petition. The record's closed, the matter is submitted, and we are off the record. So Ms. Kemfe, as you may recall, my saying at the end of the prior hearing, later on today, the board will meet in closed session to consider your petition, but a written decision will not be issued today. It will be issued later in the future, and you'll receive a copy through the mail. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Great. So thank you very much. I will turn it back to you, Dr. Mountain, if you want to take a break now or whether you want to proceed with the next matter.
I would open it up to the board. Would you like to go forward and hear another case, or would you like to take a break now?
I believe, for me personally, I think we could hear the next case. I would be okay with that.
I'm fine with going forward.
All right.
Connect as well.
Okay, unless there's other objections, Judge, we would like to please hear the next case.
All right, thank you. We can move to the next. Actually, give me about 30 seconds to switch over on my computer. And Madam Moderator, if we could elevate the next petitioner while I'm doing that, that would be greatly appreciated.
This is the moderator. I'll be promoting Jacqueline Thomas up to a panelist. And Jacqueline, if you could unmute your microphone, do a quick mic check, and also turn on your camera.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Hello.
Great, and it looks like your camera's working as well. Thank you.
Hi. Are we ready to begin?
Just give me one more second.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go back on the record. We're on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, in the matter of the petition for reinstatement by Jacqueline, Jacqueline, Lola, Lola, Thomas, Thomas. It's OAH number 20220070573. My name's Corin Wong. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. In order to establish a quorum for the record, if I could have each member respond audibly after his or her name is called, please. Ms. Amazola de Herrera. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, your microphone is still muted.
I'm present.
Thank you. Ms. Carpenter,
Present.
Mr. Deerking,
Present.
Mr. Maxey,
Present.
Dr. Mountain,
Present.
Ms. Norton,
Present.
Ms. Rubalcava,
Present.
and Ms. Turner.
Present.
Okay, let the record reflect that a quorum is present. If I could take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General, please.
Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Profession Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board have adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Turner, were you present during the prior two hearings? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Thomas.
Oh, yes, I was. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that.
And so the procedure for your matter will be the same, probably more similar to Ms. Kinfey's because you're representing yourself, but at least the process and the order will go in will be the same. And
Okay.
again, so Ms. Doherty will present the petition documents and then provide a summary of the prior discipline, and then we'll give you a chance to present your evidence in support of your petition. And just remind you that what the board is most focused on in this matter is any rehabilitation you have undergone since surrender of your license. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ms. Doherty, if you'd like to proceed with the documents.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 is petitioner's original petition packet and accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same set of this exhibit. What is generally made up of the supporting documents are generally made up of are petitioner's further education, consisting of a credentialing California Healthcare Services Counselor certification that expired April 30th, 2020, a Reliance transcript for classes taken in 2020. Further, there's a letter from Riverside University Health System showing that petitioner has received services since October 31st, 2017. There's 2 letters from employer testifying to petitioner's employment. Following that is a letter from Riverside County CCAPP Academy instructor dated November 8th, 2019. Following that is 19 letters of recommendation for petitioner. Following that is a statement written by petitioner. Then her CPR certification, a letter from Dr. Meryl Skolglin, MD, describing petitioner's medical background or medical record. We'd ask that a protective order be placed over that document. Following that is a CAAP credentialing proof of enrollment document, an employee evaluation form for July 2018 to July 2019 for Healthcare Services, Inc. And then there's e-learn grades for petitioner that are from October 2019. And following that, there's 12 certificates for continuing education for classes taken in between 2018 to 2020. And following that is petitioner's California driver's license. What's been tabbed as Section B is petitioner's license.
Uh-oh.
That is the 2015 board decision in case number VN 2013-4585 and the attached documents to that decision. I'd ask that this petition packet be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Okay, what is the page number of the document that you asked to be sealed?
1 second, please. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get to it. Your Honor, I can come back to that document. I'm having issues going through this PDF.
Okay.
Currently.
Do you remember what document it was? Was it a letter or?
It was a letter from a doctor, I believe Marilyn Scogan, MD. It was her treating psychologist, I believe.
Okay. All right, let's come back to that then. So the first petition packet will go ahead and mark as collectively as Exhibit 1, and then the addendum will mark as Exhibit 2.
Correct. It just consists of a certificate of completion for the CAAPP Academy for alcohol and drug studies and addiction professionals.
Okay.
And I'd ask that that be admitted for all purposes as well.
Sure. Ms. Thomas, any objection to 1 for all purposes?
No objection.
Any objection to 2 for all purposes?
No objection.
Okay, both 1 and 2 are admitted for all purposes. And Ms. Doherty, if you can't find the document right away, what I could do is just make a note. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about is page A015 is a letter that I think probably under HIPAA needs to be sealed.
We would be agreeable to that one as well.
Okay.
As long as petitioner is agreeable.
All right. So, Ms. Thomas, are you okay with us, with my sealing the letter? It's a letter from Brower, B-R-A-U-E-R, Trammell, T-R-A-M-M-E-L-L, M-D, and then as well as the document Ms. Doherty referred to earlier that we're having trouble finding at this moment.
Yes, no problem.
Okay. So both of those will be sealed.
That document is A029.
Thank you.
Got it. Thank you very much. All right. So Ms. Doherty, your summary?
Thank you. On or about December 13th, 2004, the California Board of Vocational Nurse and Psychiatric Technicians issued the vocational nurse license to number VN 212642 to petitioner. On or about November 30th, 2011, the board issued respondent a notice of warning regarding 2009 to 2009 arrests for possession of marijuana and for being under the influence of a controlled substance. On October 8th, 2015, the board filed an accusation number VN 2013-4585 against petitioner. The accusation alleged that petitioner's license was subject to disciplinary action under Code Section 2878, Subdivision F, conviction of a crime substantially related to the qualification, functions, or duties of a vocational nurse. In addition, a violation of 2878 unprofessional conduct and 2878.5 B and C, a conviction of a crime involving the consumption of a controlled substance and alcohol. In that, on or about April 20th, 2015, petitioner was convicted on her guilty plea for violating Vehicle Code Section 23103B, reckless driving, in the criminal proceeding entitled Lola Rollins in Superior Court of Orange County, case number 14CM06876. On or around July 12, 2017, the stipulated settlement and disciplinary order became effective, placing petitioner's license on probation for 3 years with standard terms and conditions. Effective January 30th, 2018, petitioner surrendered her license in case number VN 2013-4585. Petitioner was ordered to pay costs of $2,572 for the investigation and enforcement in this case. To date, our petitioner has a remaining balance of $2,572.50. On or around November 11, 2019, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her vocational license. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question petitioner. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Thomas, now's your opportunity to present your evidence. So if you would raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you will provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you may put your hand down. And so now's your opportunity to present any testimony in support of your petition that you would like to provide. Again, I just remind you that the board is most focused on any rehabilitation you have engaged in since surrendering your license. And so with that, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I was to start probation, and at the time I was not currently working, and I was suffering from some depression at that time and in a very abusive relationship. So it was decided that it was in my best interest to surrender and get stronger, get better, get financially prepared to do this probation, which I understand is quite costly. So what I've done since I have surrendered that license is I have seek the care of a mental health professional. I am stable on medications. I am no longer depressed anymore. I'm able to I work 2 jobs right now. As a registered drug and alcohol technician, which I do have a current licensure for. I just finished school for drug and alcohol counseling. I've finished all 12 steps, and I have sponsored 1 person. Right now, because the meetings are, not able to attend due to the COVID, I do Zoom meetings. I work in a drug and alcohol facility, so that's where my passion is now. And so what I'd like to do is I do have my entire cost recovery fee of $2,000. How much is it? $2,500 and I believe $72.50. I have that now. I can pay it in its entirety. I would like to have my license reinstated. I will still take the state exam for the drug and alcohol counseling, but where my goal is I plan to incorporate the drug and alcohol counseling knowledge with the nursing and be a detox nurse. And I currently do work side by side with nurses all day long in the detox. I have several wonderful, very nice letters that my coworkers and supervisors have taken their time to really tell you the differences and how much I excel and love this field. And, these letters, some of them brought me to tears. They're very nice and they're very thorough. And I didn't realize people really thought that much of me. So it was really nice to have those letters to present to you. So basically, that's where it is. I work in detox. I do meetings. I've worked all 12 steps. I am certified as a registered drug and alcohol technician. My CPR is current. I have just completed drug and alcohol counseling for the addiction professional. I just need to do the state test for that. I do share my experience and hope with other addicts, and in detox, I do encounter other nurses that are seeking treatment, not just nurses, but people in professions that they are seeking treatment so that they don't lose their professions. And so I'm able to really reach out with compassion, empathy to those people and help them to prevent this. But there's a lot of learning and growth I've learned from all this, and I'm really excited for my future. And just through all this, I have come to realize that the addiction field is really where my calling is, and that I really can help and make a difference in these people's lives and show them, hey, it's not over. Keep trying, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And that's what I'm doing. And so I would love to have the ability to have my license back and actually do my probation, which I never really started it, and show you just how good and how much more I have to offer to this field. So that's about what I have right now. I'm trying to see if there's something else. Oh, I have letters from the doctors who just state that I'm stable, you know, that they've treated me, I'm stable. And again, I can pay the whole entire recovery cost in one payment. So I'm able to do that as well. I have put money aside for the drug testing costs, which it has been brought to my attention. Those get quite high. And if I was to get my license back, I have 2 facilities that would be more than willing and happy to allow me to do that nursing probation in both facilities. It's either one, they both would be happy. And I also have a letter in there from a registered nurse who's willing to mentor me through the process. So I have a lot of support group, made a lot of great friends in recovery, and I love this field, and I'm hoping that, you know, I can do it as a nurse again. So that's where I stand. And, you know, I really appreciate this. It took me a while to get this hearing. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for what I have. And I hope you guys will be able to read all these letters and see why it's, you know, been so touching to have these people write such great things. And they mean it. So that's all. Are you there?
Cross-examination?
Thank you, and thank you for being here today. I do have a couple questions, or a few questions for you.
Okay.
What did you learn from driving while under the influence of drugs and alcohol?
Well, I've learned that that's not the way that I want to live my life. I've learned that that was wrong. I take full accountability for my actions. I haven't had even a parking ticket since 2014. So, you know, I'm proud of myself. I've learned a lot from this. So yeah, would I go back and do anything like that ever in my life? No. And I've spent all my time working with addicts, alcoholics, and drug addicts, trying to make that difference for them.
And do you now understand the risks you put not only your life, but others' lives when you chose to get behind that wheel?
I definitely do. I definitely do.
And have any of your convictions been expunged?
No, not at this time, but you know, I can go get them expunged if you'd like. However, I already know that I know and you know and everyone knows. I mean, so I can go back and expunge them. That's not a problem. But to me, they're a part of, you know, my past, and I'm growing from them and what happened, you know, so I'm not really looking to hide them.
And have you complied with your criminal probations?
I sure have. I paid all the fines. I had informal probation, so that's completed. All the fines are completed. And like I said, I have your fine.
And when did you complete that probation?
Well, let's see. It was a 3-year probation. I think I was convicted, I believe it was April of 2015. So all of that was completed by 2017, the end of 2017. The actual informal probation, but any fees related were done. Any classes that they wanted, it was done. They're completed, and you know, that's it. That's the only time I've ever really had those issues.
And are there any current criminal or civil charges pending against you in this state or any other state?
No, ma'am. No.
And do you have any criminal convictions that the board is not aware of today?
No. None.
And when's the last time you practiced as a vocational nurse?
My license was last active in 2017, roughly. And so I did the year surrender. And as soon as that year was up, I was asking for the petition hearing, but it took a while to get it. So there's been a little bit of a lapse. But I've been pretty consistent with, as soon as that time was up, asking to be back in here. Doing what I can, checking. I talk with the Board of Nursing once a week with the Enforcement Division, asking them, hey, how's things going? Are you scheduling hearings yet? And we've been back and forth talking. So they've been very helpful, especially Helen Park, and I want to thank her for getting me to this point.
Okay. And can you clarify again what you currently do for a living?
I am a registered alcohol and drug technician. I actually have a licensure through CCAP to do that. I currently work in 2 facilities at the moment. I work at a Lighthouse Treatment Center. I'm a detox technician, and I'm also currently working at a place called Hillside Mission. So I do the same thing. I'm a detox technician there.
And
I work side by side. Go ahead.
Can you explain to me a little bit of what those daily roles and responsibilities are as a detox technician?
Sure. With a registered alcohol and drug technician, you work in a med room, and what you do is you do med observation. So it's not administration, it's observation. So it's making sure that they take their medications properly. They administer themselves, they're self-administered. We do blood pressures, we do pulse ox, we do some questioning about how they're doing, where they're at. We also do end of shift reports. We do intakes, property searches, UAs, things of that nature.
Okay. And are you currently on any medications or anything like that?
Through my doctor, I am currently, and I put that's in one of the notes from the doctor, I'm currently taking Effexor, 150 milligrams, which is an antidepressant. I take gabapentin, and then I take Seroquel, and that's it.
Okay. And do you have a sobriety date?
I do. It's January 10th, 2015.
And how do you maintain your sobriety?
Well, I maintain my sobriety a lot of ways. I was doing meetings. Now that COVID's here, we do have Zoom meetings available. I do have a sponsor I call. My sister also works in the field of recovery. She's a great support group to me, and I'm very close with the nurses and the staff that I work with now, that we do reach out to each other if we're having a bad day or if something's going on. So I also get more recovery from just being employed, because, we're doing, groups with those clients, and we're always seeing the 12 steps and the step work and things like that. So it's a constant reminder, but I do go for my own recovery separate from my job, because that's employment.
And how has your environment changed now versus in the past when you were abusing alcohol and controlled substances?
Well, in the past, I had 3 children. I was a single mother. I had this tendency to get into these bad relationships. I had an underlying depression that I wasn't sure how to deal with at the time. Since then, I have gotten out of those relationships. I'm married for almost 3 years now in a healthy relationship. I have my last child, he's 17 and a half. And so it's not as stressful anymore. All my kids are almost grown. I've learned other coping skills and tools to use, and to understand that it's okay to talk to your doctor. Don't be scared to talk to your doctor if you need something, to call support groups, to be close with your coworkers, and just be honest, generally honest with yourself and others. And I think that that's been a real turning point in my life, is that it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to, everybody has that. It's how you deal with it. And so I've learned to deal with these things in healthy, constructive ways. And so I'm very confident that I'll be able to do this probation well. I've put money aside for this probation. I have worked 2 jobs to do that, to have that cost recovery, to have a little cushion for these drug tests that I hear are quite expensive, to, you know, put my best foot forward so it's not so overwhelming for me. And that's where I'm at. I'm just asking to do the probation that I wasn't able to do at that time.
Thank you. And can you explain to me what your triggers are?
It used to be, triggers for me used to be not being able to make decisions, not having confidence in myself. I've overcome all this to where now if I have something I'm struggling with, I can make a pros and cons list to make a decision. I can also ask somebody else or a few people and get their opinions on it. I don't have to self-medicate today. I don't have to do that. I don't have to live like that anymore. I've learned so much and I'm able to help so many people, and, you know, people in similar profession as me who go through recovery, to help them, hey, let's get this on a ball before you end up where I'm at. And I don't want to see that for you. So, you know, there's so much more that I have to give to this. And I would like to, I'm still, you know, regardless if you guys let me have it or not, I still plan on taking my state test for my drug and alcohol counseling, because I really feel that I can do the 2 together as far as just communication. And then from there, I would love to move on to get my RN. You know, that's just where I'm at. I'm hoping that, you know, I can still move up that ladder. And that's basically it.
And did you attend any rehab programs?
I did. When this first went down, what I did was a Kaiser addiction medicine in Moreno Valley, and it was an outpatient program. So that's what I did. And I graduated, but that was like in 2015. So.
Okay. And you stated you're still attending AA meetings via Zoom, correct?
Yes. Yes. And I do them at work too with the clients.
Okay. And how often would you say you attend these meetings?
Well, right now, since COVID, I used to like to go to 3 a week. So now I'm doing about 1 or 2 on my own time. But during the week at work, I am seeing, you know, that material and hearing that message, probably 3 or 4 a week with them throughout the work week. So.
And have you worked the 12 steps?
We have worked the 12 steps.
And what step are you on?
Actually, I've done all 12, but I found that you can recycle your steps. Meaning if you just keep going, what it does is every time you get to step 4, you have less baggage and less things, and it gets easier and easier. So you can always recycle those 12 steps so that you're always growing and you're always moving forward. So that's what I'm doing. I'm recycling them.
And what was the most difficult step for you?
Probably what everybody's is step 4. Step 4 is a hard one. And I found that my step 4, where I made a fearless searching inventory of myself and running down, you know, anybody I might have wronged, any bad decisions, anything that haunted me on a daily basis, and being able to just get that off my shoulders was such a relief. So many people want to avoid it, but when you're done, it's such a relief. It frees you. So I really think it was my hardest, but it was my most freeing one.
And do you still have a sponsor?
I do have a sponsor. Unfortunately, she does have skin cancer and she's undergoing some treatment right now. She tries to be there as much as she can for me, but right now she's really in a way. So I might even, you know, I still love her and, you know, nothing against her, but I know she's going through some things. So I might, you know, try to get a side sponsor, you know, while she's out. I could do that. Or.
And do you sponsor anyone?
I have sponsored one girl. So, and it's gone pretty good. So what I told her was she actually used to be a nurse herself. She can't get her license back. So she still has that desire to help. So I was helping her with doing her a registered drug and alcohol technician, which she can do, which is pretty close to a nursing, you know, as far as caring for others. So we did that. I've taken her through step 1 and step 2, and then she kind of dropped off the radar. So let's see how she's doing. I haven't really got her to answer the phone lately, but that happens.
And Is there any other assurances that you can give the board that such behavior is behind you?
I know it's behind me. And the reason I can tell you that for sure is situations that I used to use for or think I needed to go get high for, I'm not doing that anymore. And that shows me that I can trust myself too, because I'm like, wow, I got through that, you know, and usually back in the day, that would have been, you know, something that might have, and I'm handling it because I understand that problems are just for a moment. And if you just stick it out, that usually they resolve themselves. You don't have to go out and use. That's not, it just makes things worse. The best thing to do is just see it through, have faith, and just put one foot in front of the other, and you'll see that it works. It'll work itself out. You don't have to make it worse. And that's what I've learned. So regardless.
And then lastly, just for clarification, is it your testimony that this time around you'll be able to comply with that probation program and comply with all the terms that come along with it if the license was reinstated?
Yeah. Yes, because I've actually been preparing for it, waiting for the hearing. As far as putting money away so that the drug tests aren't as, you know, hard on me, as for having that cost recovery fee in its entirety, which I do have. I've been actually doing things to with the nursing probation in mind. So yeah, I want to say yes.
I have nothing further for this petitioner. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ms. Thomas, is there anything else you would like to say on your behalf, before I turn it to the board for questions?
I just want to let you guys know that I've grown a lot since this happened. I've learned a lot about myself and about addiction. I've spent 14 months in school learning about addiction and why people do what they do. And a lot of people, it's lack of coping skills. They're not bad people. I found a love for this field. I love my coworkers. I work with so many great people that are LVNs and techs, and we all work together to help the person that's, you know, struggling with addiction and alcohol to understand themselves and why they do the things they do and how to live a healthy, effective life. And I feel that I found that. We're always really close knit, and so, you know, I just want to be able to do that as a nurse. But regardless, they have my heart. I'm there. I want to help, and I always will have that passion because that's who I am, and that's why I became a nurse to begin with. So I hope you guys will let me have it back, and I won't let you down, and continue to grow up that ladder. That's about all I have.
Anything further on the recross?
Nothing further at this time. Thank you.
All right, I'll turn it to the board for questions. First, Ms. Amazola de Herrera, any questions?
No questions at this time, but I did want to say the petitioner that thank you so much for coming today to tell us her story and her accomplishments and all the work that she's been doing for rehabilitation. We love to hear these stories. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I can give you one. I want to thank you all for being here today and giving me the opportunity. I've been waiting a long time for this day, and I'm glad that I got it. You guys are all amazing.
Ms. Carpenter, any questions?
No, all of my questions have been answered, but I would like to congratulate Ms. Thomas on her sobriety and her academic successes.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Durking, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Thomas, yeah, once again, congratulations. It seems to me that you have truly confronted the hard work of recovery to understand that it's a process of growth, and, you know, it doesn't come easy sometimes. So if I could summarize your testimony, and correct me if I'm wrong, your position is do the work head on so life doesn't become too overwhelming. Would that be a fair assessment?
Absolutely. It's not impossible. People just got to understand and build those coping skills. And I think a lot of addiction is lack of coping skills and, you know, the ability to just deal with life. Life is hard. it is hard. And many people want to reach out and numb because they don't know how to deal with it. But then again, to not live life and not feel life isn't cool either. You want to live life and experience everything. So there's a way that we can do that and be healthy, then that's awesome. And that's what I'm trying to help our clients do.
Thank you very much. Nothing
You're
else, Your Honor.
welcome.
Mr. Maxey, any questions?
None for me, Your Honor.
Dr. Mountain?
I have no questions, but I also want to echo the sentiments of everybody. Congratulations on your hard work and all your accomplishments. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Ms. Norton, any questions?
I just have one question, but first of all, I also want to just give you my sincere congratulations for what you've been able to accomplish. It certainly does seem like you have embraced this head on, and I am just, I am in awe of all you've accomplished here. The one thing that I do have to be concerned of, though, is you seem to have a great handle on the drug and alcohol side of things. You also suffer from depression,
Yes,
a serious depression. And you appear to have, as of today, a very good handle on that. Do you have as much insight into triggers and things if your depression was to go bad that you could handle that as well, so that it didn't throw you into, so it didn't upset your apple cart, I guess is what, if you understand what I meant.
Yeah, I totally get it. Actually, what I've learned is, here's the thing. So I have depression, and a lot of people in healthcare don't think that they can admittedly have depression because they feel that that would hurt their license, and that's so not true. What hurts your license is when you go out and you do things that you shouldn't be doing because you don't want to go see a doctor. So in answer to your question, I have a total comfort zone with seeing my doctor. I feel that I'm going to be just fine. If I'm not, if for some reason I think something needs to be, addressed, I'm totally comfortable with talking to that doctor. I'm not scared anymore. And so I know that I will be fine. And that's how I can respond to that.
Thank you for that. And I think I do agree. I think it's important that professional people don't shy away from admitting that they suffer from depression. It goes untreated, and then sometimes it has just really horrible outcomes. So thank you. I had to ask the question. I'm glad you answered the way that you did. And again, congratulations on your recovery, and also for being so proactive that you have prepared for probation. Like, you have already looked into what you need to do and are prepared to do it. So again, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Rubalcava, any questions?
I have no questions. I would just like to say it was very inspiring to hear your story today, and I wanted to thank you for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for being here for me today.
Any questions, Ms. Turner?
Yes, I just wanted to know, you're currently on Seroquel and Effexor, and I couldn't recall the third.
The third one is gabapentin, and it seems to be working just fine. I think it's a great combination. Sometimes with when you take antidepressants, it takes you a little bit to find the one that works for you. And each time you change, it takes about 2 weeks. But you know what? This one, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I feel very good. I feel mentally stable. I'm able to concentrate. I'm able to keep a job. I got great work references, and I feel that this is working for me.
Okay, and you believe you can provide effective patient care while under those prescriptions?
Absolutely.
All right, great. Well, congratulations on your hard work, and look forward. And I appreciate you providing care to others who suffer from drug addiction and alcohol addiction. Thank you very much.
Yes, I love it. It's really an awesome field. It's really awesome.
All right, I think we've gone through each of the members, but I'll, in case there's any further questions that have arisen in the meantime, any further questions from any members of the board? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Thomas, you're excused as a witness. Do you have any further evidence you would like to provide?
No, I think that's about it. I think I gave you about everything I had, and if you guys want to take the time to really go through all the letters of references, they're quite nice. That really tell you about my work ethic. There's letters in here that are really, really nice. I actually got teary-eyed when I read them. I didn't realize that I meant that much or that people thought that much of me. So yeah, that's about it. I think I covered it all. And thank you all once again for my hearing.
Ms. Doherty, your closing argument?
Our office would recommend that if the board finds it appropriate to reinstate petitioner's license, that it be reinstated on a probationary status. Thank you.
Ms. Thomas, your closing argument? Ms. Thomas, do you wish to give a closing argument?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
No
Hi,
problem.
can you hear me? No, I'm good. I'm done now. So.
Okay, thank you. So the record's closed, the matter is submitted, and we are off the record. So Ms. Thomas, as you may have heard me mention at the end of the two prior hearings, later on today, the board will meet in closed session to consider your petition, but a written decision will not be issued today. It will be issued at a later time, and then you'll receive a copy in the mail. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You guys have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
And Dr. Mountain, I'll turn it back to you to decide whether we go on with the next matter or take a break.
I'd like to put it out to the board, but I would like to see us take a 40-minute break and reconvene at 1:30 to hear the next petition. Any comments?
The time again, please?
Sounds
If we
good.
if we take 40 minutes, Paula, that puts us back at 1:30.
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right, so let's take a 40-minute break and come back at 1:30.
Excellent.
All right, this is the moderator. I'll be muting microphones and turning off cameras for all the panelists. And we will be returning at 1:30. Thank you.